kidding.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year, and welcome to Mike and Dave Hit the Stage. It's going to be an interesting one. This is kind of a new start, new year, and this is going to be songs that got us into entire genres of music.
Yeah, man.
And to start this one off, it's going to be weird.
Why is it going to be weird?
Because this one comes with a story.
Oh, I like stories. Especially Dave stories.
In the Luigi handing me a mixtape story,
Yes.
one of the 2 Dream Theater songs that was handed to me
Yeah.
was Scene 2, Strange Deja Vu from Metropolis Part 2.
Okay.
This is the song that got me into progressive music. Mm-hmm. It's a song that got me into Dream Theater.
Yeah.
And basically restarted my want to play in bands and my want to do, to play music.
How old were you?
18.
Okay.
18 years old.
Uh-huh.
I had played. I wasn't very good. Did my best. This was mind-blowing to me. The second I heard it, I'm like, this is incredible. And I know you're not in love with Dream Theater.
No.
But this,
It's not Mariah Carey hate.
call back to Christmas. Oh, man. Or Gwen Stefani. But when you listen to this, from a fresh perspective and not knowing Dream Theater, this was something I had never heard before.
Have you never heard Dream Theater before?
I had never heard Dream Theater before, and I had never heard this.
Uh-huh. This type of music.
This type of music.
Gotcha.
And I'd heard metal.
Yeah.
I had never heard progressive music. I'd never heard progressive rock, progressive metal, none of it.
Yeah.
It just did not sit in the wheelhouse that I was in up until that point.
Uh-huh.
And this dude I went to college with, we talked for 5 hours the first day, talked about Black Sabbath and all this stuff. He starts mentioning Rush. I know nothing.
Yeah.
He starts mentioning Dream Theater and a few other bands, and I knew nothing. And the next time we really hung out, he handed me a mixtape. And it had, the run of, from Frank Zappa.
Did you get nervous?
No, because here's the thing. I say it like it is awkward. But
Here, bro, have a mixtape.
this is a guy who would literally show you how to play something.
Oh, yeah.
If he knew how to play it and you wanted to learn,
Right.
he would sit down with you and teach you. Mm-hmm. He was super cool. This is the same guy who handed me a VHS tape to learn how to count music properly.
Okay.
Always interested in having people learn new stuff and to experience new things. He's musically the most varied musical person I think I've ever met.
Cool.
He listens to everything.
Yeah, yeah.
He experiences everything. And him thinking about how to get me into something that I had never really experienced before is interesting. Just the idea of presenting a wide array of these songs.
Right.
2 per band.
Well, I think we all try to do that, especially younger us would. I always try to get people into what I listen to.
Yeah.
It never works.
I think the way he looked at it and the way he approached it was really interesting because he knew that I listened to metal.
Yeah.
He knew that. We talked, I was like, yeah, I listen to metal, I listen to hard rock. And the next thing he did, he said, yeah, there's some progressive metal on here. There's some rock. There's some really weird stuff.
Yeah.
Just give it a listen. And if there's anything you like, let me know. Mm-hmm. And there were only 2 bands on here that I fell in love with. But then there are several other bands that I was like, yeah, this is crazy. I like this.
Right.
Not that I would buy everything they had.
Yeah.
There are 2 bands that I did.
Yeah.
Face Warning and Dream Theater.
Cool.
And Dream Theater was the first one I heard, and I was hooked. And Fate's Warning, still to this day,
everything stuck. Like even after, obviously, after listening to other songs from these bands, you stuck with it. I mean,
yeah.
They became mainstays in your playlist.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And their side projects and whatever their band members that left that they started,
Yeah.
they also influenced what I listened to and changed how I listen to music. But this was a kick to the back of the head.
Yeah.
Do something. This is what's out there. This is something you've never heard before. Go.
Right. Do something as in do something yourself? Or,
Yes.
or okay.
It's my first experience listening to them was a few months before seeing them live. Mm-hmm. Touring this album.
Yeah.
Playing beginning to end and then doing, another hour of music. Mm-hmm. So they played this album beginning to end, which is a concept piece.
This is what we were talking about the last time. a few episodes ago where they played like a night with.
Yeah, an evening with Dream Theater where they play an entire album. Well, they usually end up either using a concept album, and then the other one is their regular standard set.
Was this with one of those, or was this a show like that, or was this just a regular show?
The first time I saw them wasn't. The first time they had 2 opening bands.
Yeah.
One of which was also on that cassette tape that he handed me. This band called the Dixie Dregs.
Yeah.
They're a progressive, like bluegrassy kind of band.
Interesting.
And then the opening band was a band called the Star People.
Yeah.
They were sitting down. They were wearing suits. I have never seen a band get pelted with batteries.
Really?
And Mentos.
See,
anything you could throw at somebody.
Okay.
Now,
why? At a Dream Theater show?
At a Dream Theater show, because Dream Theater at that time was getting heavier.
Okay.
And the bands that they were touring with were less heavy and more progressive.
Okay.
And these guys were just not keeping up with the rest of the bands. Like, their style was a little more jazzy and a little more meh.
So were they put not first?
They were first, and they were terrible. Like, they weren't a good...
Yeah, but they're supposed to be the first band.
But the first band shouldn't be so hated that you throw stuff at them.
No, but then...
They were a poor fit.
But here's the thing, is they've been touring, or was this the first show?
I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know where they sat on the tour.
And you look at this band and you go, dude, it's just not working.
Oh, they were so bad. Like, their music was boring.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, everyone was sitting down.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there was a singer.
Yeah.
There might have been multiple singers, but everyone was sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting pelted with batteries and change. It was bad.
Yeah.
Then they get off the stage. I think they finished their set.
Yeah.
The Dixie Dregs got on and tore it up.
Okay.
Bluegrass tore it up, but tore it up.
Oh, believe me, I got a story from my first song and about an opening band. Opening bands.
Bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dream Theater played that album almost in its entirety, and then they closed with a song which was almost 30 minutes. I know that's a thing. I know it's a thing for non-Dream Theater fans, and I understand it because I feel that way about long songs from other types of music that I don't enjoy.
Right.
But
Fish.
Oh God,
Grateful Dead.
I thought my nose started bleeding when you said Fish. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ. I thought that was going to be like the trigger word. Reggie Jackson. So when they came back around the next time, they were filming for a DVD.
Yeah.
And that was in 2000. Mm-hmm. So I was 19. Stood in line. Got real close to the front. I hate doing that. I'm never doing that again.
Well, I
hate standing in line. I hate
die.
Yeah. I'm fat and sweaty. It's not fun for anybody.
Right.
But we spent the whole evening watching Dream Theater and only Dream Theater, and it was amazing because they put on a great show. Their bassist is a statue. He barely moves. The rest of the band is awesome. Their drummer's phenomenal. Their keyboardist is graduated from Juilliard as a child.
Right.
And it for me, it's an exciting band back then.
Yeah. Not anymore? What do you mean back then?
Things have changed. Their style has... I don't enjoy the newer albums.
Okay.
The last 2.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy.
All right. Musically changed? Style?
Well, style changed a little bit. One of their main writers, Mike Portnoy, their drummer, left a few albums ago. And they got a new drummer, Mike Mangini, who's a very good drummer. But the style of music just doesn't quite sit. They did another concept album. It didn't feel right.
Yeah.
It just you fall out. Mm-hmm. Like I'm still in love with the earlier albums.
Right, of course.
This album is one of those, if I'm ever feeling like meh, I can throw this album on and listen beginning to end.
All right, cool.
And it links to the next album. Like the end of the last track is the same sound at the beginning of the next album.
All right.
Not that it's linked thematically. Uh-huh. It's just
so you could technically play the end song of the first album into the second album, and it would kind of flow together.
It would flow, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not against that. I'm not, I'm not, petitioning for or against it.
I'm just cranky today.
Well, I do know that you have a very specific opinion of Dream Theater.
I don't hate them.
Yeah, I know, but you're not in love.
Yeah.
Like, this got me in love with the whole genre of music.
You know what I would probably like? and not for a long time, but like Mike would, when we would play shows, Mike would put on like a Rush video show, or or I don't even know if he put any Dream Theater stuff on, but whatever he did, I would love watching it because as much as I dislike Rush,
they're phenomenal.
The playing, and just Neil Peart himself.
Yep.
Watching him play, it was amazing to me. That's why I loved watching Mike play, because he did all these little things, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Mike, don't quit.
But
this is subliminal. Mike, don't quit.
But I always enjoy watching the drummer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Portnoy is one of those drummers.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that I dislike it, hate it. I just dislike it. I just don't.
Yeah, I get that. It's
not my thing.
I can completely get that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this podcast is important for us. Because I'm playing stuff for you that you either haven't heard or have heard in passing.
Right.
And you're playing stuff I've actually never heard before. And I'm enjoying it.
And I also...
Except for Gwen Stefani.
Well, oh, man, this is going to become a running thing, isn't it?
Oh. Running jump kick.
So, oh, damn, I forgot what I was going to say. Thanks, Dave. Oh, no, so you were saying that, I'm showing you stuff that you didn't know, and you're fine. Same with me.
Yeah.
Like when we first started this, you put an OTEP song on.
Opeth.
OTEP's the...
OTEP is the female led.
Yes.
I believe she's hardcore.
I don't know what she's...
I don't know what the genre is, but she is a specific style. Heavy, but very different.
Yeah, Opeth. That one song... like you've said, I put it in the rotation. It's in the playlist.
It's so
now.
weird.
Yeah,
and honestly, Operation Ivy has come into my world a little bit, and Frank, the next song that we're going to talk about, Frank Turner, has also come into my rotation pretty solidly.
Well, do you want to go into Frank Turner now?
In a second,
okay,
actually. There's one last thing about Dream Theater, because Dream Theater is known for like odd time signatures and weird stuff.
Yeah.
This song has the weirdest middle solo section I've ever heard. It actually, it counts in 4.
Yeah.
But it shrinks down in the number of repeats down to 1 and then back out to like 6.
Fucking math.
It's like 6 and then it's 6 and 6 and 5 and 5 and 4 and 4.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, it goes through
prime numbers.
Think about a riff. Think of any riff in your head. They play it 6 times.
Yeah.
And then they play another little riff.
Right.
Then they play a different riff 6 times.
Right.
Then it goes to 5 and 5.
Okay.
And then 4 and 4. And then they get down to just the one little riff in between. And then they build it back out to 6 again.
Okay.
So they call it the shrink and grow. It shrinks down to nothing, grows back out to full size.
I call the shrink and grow?
Yeah, I know. You in the pool. You thought you were gonna beat me to that joke? So yeah, this was one of those counting things that I learned, and I noticed it before I actually knew what it was. I'm like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
And like I said, I fell in love with this band from this and one other song on this album. And it stuck, and then I went back. I went all the way back to their beginning.
Yeah.
I actually made friends with their original singer, Charlie Dominici.
Okay.
On Facebook. He had cats, and I'm a big dog fan.
Okay.
Well, he's not really in music in the same level that he was back then.
Right, but he was still...
And he's a Long Island guy. These are Long Island guys.
Yeah.
So I had talked to him. We had exchanged photos of pets, and we were talking about animal rescue stuff, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
And he had been let go from the band in the 80s,
So he was before they got kind of famous?
Their first album, When Dream and Day Unite.
Okay.
And then their second album was with their current singer all the way through.
Is Pete Best? Is that what he is?
He's no. No, they had a Pete Best guy. I think even Metallica had a Pete Best guy.
Yeah.
Stuart Sutcliffe. We're going to start naming members of the Beatles that don't get counted. So now I want to talk about Frank Turner.
All right.
And I want to hear what you have for a story for this.
Okay, yeah. So I'll start out with I start looking for songs. I get bored sometimes, and I don't want to listen to stuff I've listened to my whole life.
Yeah.
So what I do is a lot of times, a lot of the bands I found by checking the thank yous when we used to buy CDs.
Yeah.
And I look through and I write down the names. Some of them are just local bands, and you're not going to find them anywhere. But sometimes you hit on one, and I'm like, ooh, all right, let's check this out.
I found more than one band that way.
Right, and I found many bands this way. Frank Turner, I found out by going to Epitaph is a punk label,
Yes. Epitaph Records.
right? And so I went on them. I went on their website, and God, I found, when did I find Frank Turner? Early 2000s. You know, I had to be 2004, 2005 maybe, and so I'm going through their stuff, and you know, I'm reading, and they have like little, like you could hit play on one of the songs and hear the band, and if the band's screaming, I'm like, oh, I'm done. So, and it says they're like kind of like their genre, like screamo, emo, this, Next to Frank Turner, it said folk punk, and I went, what the actual fuck does that mean?
Because it's not rockabilly.
Right.
That's a completely different thing.
So I hit play, and it's this song, Photosynthesis. And I'm blown away. Because not only does he's talking about himself, but he's talking about things that everybody understands. And I find it in every one of his songs.
He's a relatable person.
Dude. So relatable that when we went to see him, the first show me and Mary Jane went to see him was at Brooklyn Bowl. Right over here.
I know the event.
Right.
The event space.
Oh, okay.
Not the event itself.
I was like, what? So, not sure if it was his first time in America. I'm not sure. You know, was he headlining? I don't remember. Anyhow, long story short, as we get there early, we're drinking at the bar, and we're meeting my friend Zuba there, and this tall guy comes in.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Your friend who?
Zuba.
That is a very unique name.
Yes.
Are we going to glance over the name Zuba?
Well, she's got yeah. Why?
I don't know. That's such a strange name.
Okay, so Zuba is my friend. She lives here on McGinnis. She lives in Brooklyn, right? And I met her through a bartender friend of mine. She was like, I know this person who you would love. So Zuba is Egyptian.
That's a very interesting name.
She's like, she's about 6 foot tall, probably over 6 foot tall. She's bigger than all of us, and she is the epitome of Brooklyn. She has the accent. Wow. She has the attitude, and she takes no fucks. Okay,
takes no fucks, gives no shits.
And she has been a close family friend for a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're meeting Zuba there.
I would say that's such a cool name.
Yeah. So she has that's not her real name.
That's just her nickname?
Yeah.
Was she really into like sports pants?
No, I think it's Jesus, she's going to kill me. You're making me do this,
yes.
Kid. You're making me do this.
Yes.
So, I believe it's a nickname that her family gave her from her full name.
So like a shortened or a,
right.
Like a kid's nickname.
Yeah. So
I never had one of those.
No,
everyone calls me David.
See,
I call myself Dave, but my parents everyone calls me David.
On the Italian side, it was Micheluz.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I get called to this day, and I'm 46 years old. People still call me Micheluz.
It's not the weirdest thing I've heard.
No. And yeah. You know what my other nickname is? You know what my other nickname is?
Noogs.
Noogie. Yeah. So we go to Brooklyn Bowl to see Frank. And this guy walks in with a backpack, and he's kind of looks sheepish, but he's 6'2" or something like that.
Where all these tall fucking people
come from? Mary Jane, well, I'm a short guy, dude.
How tall are you?
5'7"-ish.
5'8". So we're around the same height.
And Mary Jane looks over.
Sorry, John.
She goes, that's him. I'm like, that's who? And she goes, that's Frank right there. So he leans over to the bartender and he goes, can I have a PBR, please? In an English accent. I can't do it. I'm not going to try to do an English accent.
Thank you.
And the guy goes, we're right next to Brooklyn Brewery. We don't have any PBRs. And he's like, all right, I'll just take a lager or whatever. And he's standing there. And we approached him. We're like, dude, we're here to see you, this and that. And we took pictures of him. Now, back then, we had flip phones.
Yes.
I will show you these pictures at the end of the day. At the end of this episode, and
is it just shadows?
They're grainy, yeah, because it was dark. You can't tell him from me, from her. You just see us standing next to a tall guy.
It looks like Name That Pokemon.
A beer. And he came on. You know, we saw a couple of the opening bands, and then he comes on, and people are singing full songs, like right along with it. And I'm like, holy crap! I didn't realize how much fun it was. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Anytime you have something you're in love with, Dream Theater, there are people singing along the whole time. Funny enough, with that last show that I was talking about, where they did the whole album and then an evening with the first evening with I saw of them that they recorded for a DVD. Mike was there,
Really?
not with me. We hadn't met yet,
Yeah.
but we were at the same show.
That's
It was
awesome.
me and my friend Luigi and
Yeah.
a few other people, and then Mike was there with other people. We never even met each other that
Yeah.
day. Years later, we met.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Well, that's.
But when you love music, you sing the words.
Oh yeah. So.
I can't sing for shit, and I still do it.
Oh yeah. I did it the other day when we went to see Goldfinger. So after the show, he comes off stage and Zuba grabs him, and we're doing shots with him, and there's pictures of us doing shots with him.
Grainy as shit.
Every show we go to see him, we meet him.
That's great.
He.
Now recognizes you.
Yeah.
Of course.
I wouldn't say he doesn't know our names,
But he knows who you are because he knows your face.
Yeah, and he's just been getting bigger and bigger. He signed to Interscope over here, and there was a time. Once that happened, I told Mary Jane, I was like, "We're never meeting him again," and that was wrong because
I'm glad that's wrong.
I have this knack of this is going to sound a little stalkery, but I know where to meet especially him.
We've talked about this
Because he
though.
likes to drink after the show.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mind hanging out with his fans.
But we've talked about meeting people
Right.
after shows. That's how I met George Carlin.
Yeah.
You hang out where you think they're going to be.
Right.
And you run into them.
Right.
I met George Carlin, 2002
Yeah.
at the Beacon Theater.
Yeah.
I'd seen we watched the taping of the HBO special live.
Right.
And then we went around back and waited by the stage door. He came out, signed my ticket.
Yeah.
Just George Carlin.
Yeah.
Simple. Didn't make a huge thing out of it, didn't yell. But you treat somebody with respect, they're
Right.
usually cool about
So
it.
there's pictures of us hanging out with him. Like he's doing shots with us, smiling. Better pictures because now we have smartphones and stuff like that.
Smartphones with good cameras.
And we met him before a show one time. He was at the merch table, and Mary Jane was pregnant at the time, and Mary Jane kept wanting to get his symbol. He does like the hardcore symbol,
Okay.
but it's an X with FTHC, Frank Turner Hardcore.
Okay.
Right. So she kept wanting to get a tattoo of that, and every time he wrote it on her, we would go home
and it would rub off.
and no, and she would find out she was pregnant. So she can't get a tattoo.
Well,
Right? So she tells him this.
I like you, so I'm not going to say what I normally say. Could you just stop for 1 minute? Let the woman get a tattoo. I'd say it like you have 16 kids. You have
I know,
two.
too. So she tells him the story, right? And since she told him a story, he goes, he pulls us to the side. He goes, "I'll let you guys know." He goes, "I have a new album coming out, and it's coming out in like 3 months or whatever." Yeah. And he was like, "No one else knows, but I want you guys to know." And it was pretty cool.
That is awesome.
So getting back to Frank, so this song comes on, and I'm like, "All right, now I gotta investigate the guy." And he started out in a hardcore band called Million Dead in England.
Okay.
Right? They actually got pretty big, I think, and then they broke up, and he got real depressed. And
Like you would.
yeah, so he didn't know what he wanted to do. So I believe one of his friends told him that, listen, if you want to do something, do it yourself. And he was like, what do you mean? Here, you have a guitar, write your own music. So he started out doing acoustic, like folk punk stuff, punk lyrics to folk music, which took on, he started a genre basically.
He invented his own genre out
Right.
of necessity.
Right. So right, originally it's just him, then it's him, and like he found people to help him. Then he got a band together, Frank Turner, the Sleeping Souls. Okay. So it's Frank Turner and Sleeping Souls, and it's mostly the same guys. A couple guys left. Nigel, the drummer, just left, and all this. But for the most part, it's the same guys, and they help him. He writes the music, and they help him record, and then they play live.
That's awesome.
Right? And he's progressively, listen to his albums.
I'm going to actually dive deeper into this.
It's a rock band now. It's a rock band.
I'm probably gonna get them in order and do
Yes.
what I call the progressive dive.
And he's writing punk rock songs on some of them.
I did this with Mike had got me into Butch Walker, and I did that from South Gang all the way up to where
and I think I brought this up earlier that I love watching an evolution of a band.
Yes.
And this, you're going to see the evolution of Frank Turner to the point of where it's a rock band now. It's no longer folk punk.
Well, we have a few bands, both of us on these lists that we think about the evolution and the change.
Yeah. Yeah. And talking about opening bands, I have found so many bands going to his shows and watching the opening bands. There was Franz Nikolai. He was from the I think they were called the Rocksteady. I think he was in a band, right? And then he went out solo and he did a solo. He played accordion. He was by himself,
Very
played accordion and
strange.
sang.
I would say that's a very strange combination.
Awesome.
It's got to be stand out. It's got to really stand out.
It was awesome. And then who was it? Andrew Jackson Jihad.
I'm sorry.
That's the name of the band.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah, exactly. But they're like a crazy they play acoustic, and I guess it would be folky, but it's punk folk.
Andrew Jackson Jihad sounds pretty punk.
And then the last one, which is going to eventually become, it's going to go on a list, is what the hell's the name of that band? Damn it! It's the one I really want to talk about. Anyway, they have a song called "Hobo's Lament," and they came out with Larry and His Flask. That's the name of the
Larry and His Flask.
Larry and His Flask. That's the name of the group. They came out with a stand-up bass.
Oh, the upright.
Like the drummer only had like a cymbal and a snare drum.
Oh, Tiger Army style.
And they came out and they played this country punk. Oh, what? It was so good. They were jumping up and down, and I watched and I was like, I gotta find what this band does.
That reminds me of the Bridge City Sinners.
Okay.
Female led. She plays violin. There's an upright bass.
Yeah.
They're like 7-piece band.
Yeah.
One guy's playing a washboard, but they're singing evil kind of punkish stuff.
Yeah.
And at the same time with a very bluegrassy feel.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but very good.
Yeah.
Them and the Dead South are in that same genre of weird. Mm-hmm. I think that stuff's really cool. This really caught me off guard because I'm like, I'd heard you mention Frank Turner before, but I never looked into it.
Frank Turner, by the way, is an acquired taste because some people listen to it and they're just like, ugh. He speaks to my soul, dude. Every song.
I don't get. He doesn't speak to my soul.
Not yet.
But he's not. He's definitely not like I would not skip it.
You got to understand this is his beginning stuff.
Yes, this is not a skip for me.
Uh-huh.
This is also not a. Like I said, I have to kind of dive through all the albums to feel where it's going. But I liked it. I really did. I really liked the way it felt. It had a cool energy to it. Mm-hmm. And I think that more than anything, if it feels good, run with it. Which takes us in the opposite direction now to Demo Borgir. Progenies of the Great Apocalypse.
You have this. How do I put this? You like grand sounding music.
I do.
It's so big to me. And in my car, because I'm going to work at 4 a.m, and I put this, I'm like, let me listen to Dave's playlist. And I'm in a freaking epic movie.
Now do you understand what I meant when I said
I don't
symphonic
like
black metal?
No, I understand. It's so not me.
It's
so not me.
It honestly isn't me either.
Yeah.
And that it's not my style.
Yeah.
But man, like I said, the first time I heard that, I'm like, Jesus.
It's so big though.
It's huge. And there's something about like the gravelly voice stuff is one thing. When that bassist starts singing.
Yeah.
In that weird operatic voice.
Okay. Yes.
He's also 7 feet tall.
Yes.
He's a giant.
Yeah.
These guys are big Norwegian guys.
Yeah.
They are, I mean, no joke. Mm-hmm. Their drummer's was a massive man. Their bassist is a giant.
Yeah.
And he had this operatic voice.
Yeah.
They didn't replace him. Like when he left, they didn't find another man who could sing and play bass. They got another bassist, and they got a female singer to do other stuff, and she covers some of that. You can't cover that.
Yeah.
Like, that's an original, that's a very unique voice.
Right.
And that sound is gigantic. And with the idea of the symphonic stuff in the back, I know the cops are going to keep coming by.
Brooklyn in the back.
You got to love Brooklyn. Brooklyn in the new year, baby. Here we go. But with that symphonic sound comes a different style. This is obviously not your Mr. Microphone, Mayhem Burzum, Anthem to the Welkins at Dusk black metal.
Yeah.
This is not that cheaply recorded. There's talk about some guys doubling up their drums, like recording the drums twice.
Yeah.
So they could do double fluttered bass.
Yeah.
Like you do a double tap on bass for one,
right,
and then another drum hit on the second track,
right,
to give you like a triple sound.
Okay.
It sounds like garbage.
Does it?
It absolutely does, because it wasn't recorded well to begin with.
Yeah.
But Demu, they record like a professional band. They recorded in a good studio with good quality equipment. They care about what they're writing.
Yeah.
It may not be the best style for what you love, but it is so grand.
Yeah.
And it's the term grandiose was a huge part of that. This is one of those bands that I wasn't led into by Dream Theater at all. But it definitely sat in that progressive, because this is a progress from black metal. This is a huge step up.
Okay.
This is definitely like Cradle of Filth and this are evolutions of black metal, for better or worse.
Okay. I just learned something. I didn't.
Like, have you ever listened to Cradle of Filth?
I have.
So they're well written, well recorded.
Yeah. Yes.
But they're still black metal, kind of.
Okay.
They've veered away from that a little bit. These guys have not. They're still very much black metal, but they've incorporated the symphony. They've incorporated a female vocalist. In this case, the male operatic voice.
Yeah.
And I saw them live.
Yeah.
At Ozfest one year.
They played Ozfest?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
what do you remember what year?
06 maybe?
Not the main stage.
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah.
Did I go in 06?
It was
who was on 06?
It was
Was it
Demu?
Yeah.
I think it was Demu, Slayer,
No, I missed
and
that one.
Ozzy.
No, I missed that one.
Damn
it, I missed that one. That sounds like a good
insane.
one. Yeah.
They were. I don't even think they were the part of the three. Judas Priest might have been there too. It was, because that was one of the ones where Ozzy was sick.
Yeah.
He had bronchitis, and Halford covered his vocal duties at Jones Beach.
That's awesome.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, these guys. One is Jones Beach, so it's on the water.
Yeah.
It's bright out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around that time is when it started getting pretty dark outside.
It was in the parking lot, right? It wasn't in the.
No, it was at the amphitheater.
Oh yeah.
We were seated. Yeah.
Nah.
I would knock it, but it was so good.
Yeah. Hey, if it was good, I've seen shows there where I hate it.
And then Slayer.
Yeah.
Slayer being just Slayer.
Yeah.
And that was the year. That was the year they released God Hates Us All, 666.
Okay.
6606.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Crazy.
Now, how did if I remember correctly, I haven't been to Jones Beach in so long. There's no pit area, is there?
No, there's no pit.
What the
pit
hell?
was in the back. You know how they have the open area in the back?
Yeah.
It's the same thing they do at PNC.
So not in the
forward section.
I'm trying to remember.
So when you think
so there was seats, empty space, and then the seats up going up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
So the biggest thing, like most of my experiences, with the exception of that one Ozfest, were at PNC in Jersey.
Yeah, I did PNC. I did Giant Stadium.
So the PNC, the lawn's in the back.
Yeah.
So everything in front seated.
Right.
That's where we sat, because my friend Jay used to bring us there.
Gotcha.
And we get the handicap lawn, which was literally folding chairs on a lawn space next to the seats.
Okay.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And then we never sat lawn. And then
I sat lawn.
In 06, we did 06, we did regular seating. My friend Steve from Shadow.
Yeah.
Danny from Shadow. I think Luigi was there, and myself. And it was amazing. So Demu is like, when people say, I hate black metal, I'm like, I hate it too.
Yeah.
Except for Demu.
Okay.
And a few other bands. There are a couple of other weird bands that came out of like Norway that aren't quite pure black metal.
Right.
And I love the mixing of black metal with other stuff.
Yeah.
The same way I love the mix of like metal and progressive music and metal and jazz and the odd stuff.
Oh yeah.
And now, with that being said, I'd like to get to Operation Ivy.
Yes.
Knowledge.
Yes.
This is now the version that you sent me was a remaster.
I couldn't.
You can't find the original.
I can't find the original, dude.
But in this case, it sounded really good.
Yeah. Well, think of it a little more raw. That's what they made it. They made it pretty.
Okay.
But the one thing that growing up, like I said, I started out as heavy metal guy. Metallica, Megadeth, all that stuff.
Judas
And then-
Priest.
Yeah. Well, that's coming
Yep.
up. And when I was introduced to punk, it was in high school, and and Operation Ivy was the first.
I was gonna say you had said previously that Operation Ivy was the first punk band you got into.
Yeah.
To the point where your usernames were Op Ivy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Look them up, ladies and gentlemen.
So
Check Tinder.
Yeah. Grinder. What?
What? Oh, I like sandwiches too.
So
Different. It's different.
So I picked Knowledge because it's the upbeat song. I'm not saying that was the first Operation Ivy song I heard, but it's that album. They basically have that album and that's it. Energy, right? They have one album. They basically started the whole this wave of punk rock,
The current wave.
Yeah. So who's in that band is Tim Armstrong and Matt Freeman from Rancid. Right? So after Operation Ivy broke up, Tim didn't really like to sing. He sings on this album, but he's the backup singer. He's not the lead guy.
So who's the lead singer of Rancid then? Is that
Tim Armstrong.
okay? That's what I thought.
Rancid has two singers as well.
Lars as well.
Lars Fredrickson, who tattooed me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's Lars. I can show you pictures of Lars tattooing me at New York Hardcore Tattoo in New York. And so this introduced me to punk. And then right from this, they were already broken up. They broke up in '89. There's actually a Rancid song.
We fucked up. Take us back.
Yeah. No. Are you kidding me?
I cannot knock Rancid. I only know one album.
This made. Listen, Op Ivy, I don't think would have ever gotten huge. Right?
Rancid got huge.
Rancid did, right. And if it wasn't for Operation Ivy, there would be no Rancid.
Yeah.
So you got right. It went from Operation Ivy to Rancid to Bad Religion, and these, if you know me, these are my core bands since the beginning. These are my favorites.
The foundations,
right? These are my favorites, and they're there forever.
I get that.
But yeah, what I like about this style of music is that, and I don't know, a lot of people don't understand what I mean. I love the raw sound of it, the unproduced part of it.
Which is funny because I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But when it's so bad, you get black metal.
Well,
and then black metal's production quality and the raw sound of it turns me off. In this case,
I'm not saying
it works for the music.
Right. I'm not saying recorded in an alleyway.
An alleyway, Mr. Microphone.
Well, this album actually was recorded live.
Okay.
If you listen, they're all playing together. It's not drums and then bass and then guitar. They could only afford to
do a live room
recording.
Oh, see, I like that.
Yeah. Which is hard to tell, I guess, with the remaster because
it's remixed. It's not remixed, but everything has been readjusted to compensate for
that.
But
I remember you can hear it. You can hear little screw ups and little, and that's what I loved about the music. It's like that. And then I heard one of the first Sick of It All albums is like that, where it's I don't know if that was recorded live,
but it has that feel.
But it has that. It's not overproduced.
Okay.
And some and this is not a knock at the stuff you send, but sometimes I put on your playlist and it's so produced. I'm like, holy! I have to I start my stuff at 10, on my car, and like some of the stuff you send, I'm like, geez, it's got to go down to like 8 or 7 because it's so much, and it's like an attack of sound. You know,
I think that might be one partially because my hearing is terrible.
No, but it has nothing to
awful.
do with you. It's
Yeah.
just it's the song. Like I noticed it on one of the playlists I sent you this week that one of the songs does that. Like the first song I sent is at a certain point, and then the second song comes in, and it's like whoa,
It's like easy.
yeah, yeah,
I get that. For Operation Ivy, it felt good. Like I said, I really judge music by whether it feels good or doesn't.
yeah.
And this is something like I'm definitely going to go through this whole album. Mm-hmm. This is going to be added to the collection. I'm going to listen to it.
Right.
And
There's
I'm
going to be
probably
something
keep,
you're going to hate. There's going to be some of it I'm telling you right now you're not going to like.
and that's
I don't
okay.
say hate.
But it's probably
going to
be a keeper.
Like.
It's probably going to be as an album because I don't believe in collecting songs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a keeper of an album.
Yeah.
And then I'll filter out what I
Right,
don't
what
want
you don't like.
as I play.
Yeah. This album, you know what's funny is as it goes on, some of it, even for me, it's just what it is they had one album, and then what I think they did with this album is they added on like EPs and stuff like that. So it's very long for a punk rock album.
It kept building up.
So some of the songs I listen to and I'm like, all right, I've had enough of that. I've had, because some of it almost sounds like they just threw the song together. But the
Okay.
core songs are amazing.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
So yeah, but that's Op Ivy. That's my punk rock introduction.
So this came out in '89
No,
Original.
This came.
originally.
They
88,
broke up in '89, so this probably came out in '87.
87. Okay.
Yeah.
So from '87 to 2007, this was remastered,
Okay.
and I think everybody should at least give this song a shot.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. And now I put this on the list. I know it's on both of our lists of songs we love.
Okay.
Pantera, Cowboys from Hell.
Oh yeah. Oh, and what's funny is when I saw this on there, I was like, yeah, this definitely could have been on mine. But it wasn't a genre-changing song for me.
It was, this is honestly one of the first heavy metal songs I heard.
Right.
Like I'd heard hard rock stuff and
Yeah.
Stuff like that, but this was the one that was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even new at the time. It was 95, 6.
Right.
Summer
And
of 96.
That came out in 91.
Yeah, somewhere there. I was behind the times anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit from shit.
Right.
But this is that story. That kid sitting in front of me in summer school turned around. Hey, you like metal? I don't know. He just handed me a stack of CDs.
Now you do.
He might as well have just said, "Here you go. Now you do."
Yeah.
And Pantera Cowboys from Hell. That is a no skip album for me.
No. And that first riff, just the way that comes. I listened to it again coming over here today.
It's so
And it's
good.
just, yeah.
It's the very few times I'll use the word delicious when describing music, but it's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just his voice. It was so different. It was not James Hetfield. It was not it was screaming, but it was not Rob Halford.
It was very
raw.
it was very raw, and it was, these guys are these are Southern guys.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of the South felt into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it didn't feel like New York versus LA metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had Anthrax versus Metallica or Megadeth and Wasp and back and forth between. Nothing was coming out of Texas really.
Yeah.
As far as metal came. And
Not
then
that I could think of, no.
And then these guys were all groove. Mm-hmm. And like you didn't hear that from other bands until like Suicidal Tendencies or basically bands that wanted to be Pantera.
Well, Suicidal Tendencies was a punk band.
Yeah, they're a punk band, but
a thrash hardcore.
they
band.
turned into very groovy stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then they actually started a groove band.
Infectious Grooves.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rupture Heo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a whole other genre.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that is the Latin American effect on heavy metal.
Yes.
And it is so huge and so beautiful.
Which, yeah.
And I didn't realize it when I was younger, that there are some drum beats that are straight up Latin jazz.
Oh, I did.
And straight up Latin metal.
My brother-in-law asked me one time, because they're Chilean, and he asked me, are there any drums that are like tribal? And I went,
Sepultura.
You beat me to it. Come on, Dave. I was like, just put on Sepultura.
I'm not even a huge fan of Sepultura, and I have a huge amount of
I love
respect for them.
the first two albums, Chaos AD and Arise. Amazing to me.
I definitely I'm not a huge
And
fan.
even Roots. Yeah,
Roots is very, very specifically laid in time.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it belongs to. And this is the same thing I said about Testament, getting in touch with in Chuck Billy's case, his Native American roots.
Yeah.
Max and Igor Cavalera got very in touch with their
South
Brazilian,
American, yeah.
their Brazilian indigenous people roots.
Right.
I don't know exactly what the name is. I believe Kayopo.
I don't know.
But they're they're incredible.
But I told my brother-in-law, I was like,
And I would've never found
I can
any
show
of
you
that.
Sepultura songs that are straight up tribal drum beats.
Even Soulfly stuff has it.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
it's
same
Max,
guys,
yeah.
But yeah, and I played him some, and he's like, "Wow," and I'm like, "Yeah, see, don't judge what I listen to just because of what it is."
I'll throw this out there because of Sepultura, and some of the like. There's a tattoo shop a block away.
Yeah.
Where I got the tattoo on my leg done. The guys were in there listening to Rata Blanca, White Rat.
Okay.
It's power metal,
Okay.
but Spanish, totally in Spanish.
All right.
And they're like, "Oh, we'll change the music." I said, "No, it's cool."
Yeah.
Like, really? I'm like, yeah. It's just because it's not in English doesn't mean it's
yeah.
not awesome.
Right.
I like Japanese metal. I like Japanese.
Yeah.
Some Japanese pop music is actually kind of fun.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not talking like I'm not listening to anime soundtracks.
What do you think of baby metal?
I think it's adorable.
It is.
I think anyone who hates baby metal,
Yeah.
lighten the fuck up.
Did you
Really.
see I forget the other guy. There's a big white dude that does it. What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, I gotta find it after this, and we'll put it in the notes or something.
Between
like
that and the guy who dresses up like a clown and sings sad songs, Puddle's Pity Party.
What?
You've never heard that? And he's a real like a crooner
Yeah.
in a sad clown outfit,
Yeah.
singing like Rainbow in the Dark.
That's hilarious.
He's a really good singer, almost operatic,
Okay.
and it's weird,
Yeah.
but good. So back to Cowboys from Hell. Cowboys from Hell was one of those first songs, not even CDs, but the actual song
Yeah.
was the first Pantera song I ever heard.
Yeah.
And then that opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
And then
I've met them too.
yeah, I've met them more than once. I didn't get to see Damage Plan their last time through.
I did not.
And I
I
felt
wasn't.
bad about
I wasn't
that.
a big Damage Plan fan. I wouldn't turn it off, but I was not a big fan. Like I didn't buy albums or.
I bought the album.
Okay.
I was hoping to see them live, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
unfortunately Dimebag Darrell was murdered on stage.
Yeah.
His brother passed years later, so unfortunately now we're left with the singer Phil, who I'm not a fan of as a
Right.
person, and Rex, who I'm not really into.
It's
And they're
neither here nor
teaming
there,
up
yeah.
with Zach Wilde and Charlie Benante. Zach Wilde, famously from Ozzy's band,
Yeah.
and Charlie Benante of Anthrax, to go out and do Pantera,
Pantera
songs.
It's like a tribute band, basically. That's what I look at.
And as long as they're treating it like a tribute, I'm okay with that.
which
But
I think they will. I can see Zach doing.
that's
it
what
as a
they're
tribute.
saying, and I'm glad. But
They're not Pantera. They're not gonna. He's not gonna go out.
I think they're
well. They're
going
gonna go
out
out
as
as
Pantera.
they're gonna go out as Pantera. But I think if I the way I with Zach's attitude, I don't think he's going to say
he
I'm
better.
in Pantera.
he better not.
I don't think so, and I don't
And
think I don't think Charlie would either.
I have opinions on Charlie that are more personal, that aren't music related.
Yeah.
Charlie is one of the best drummers in metal. He's another guy, a Queens guy into
Right.
Latin music. You can hear it in Anthrax.
Yeah.
Zach is a great guitarist. He's a fantastic writer. My issue is he was very close with Dime.
Yeah.
And I felt like after Dime died, he went off the rails a bit.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just hope it doesn't bring up that, like, doesn't rip the scab for him.
I don't think he would do it if it did.
Yeah, I hope.
I think he's going to look at it more as a tribute to him.
And then I have major issues with Phil's
Yeah.
attitude, ties to
Yeah.
beliefs, and his. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I actively
Not gonna lie.
avoid.
I might go see.
No, I'm not telling anyone not to. I don't believe that my opinion should influence anybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that for me, I'm not a fan of Phil because of these reasons. I'm not even gonna.
Bring him
I'm
up.
not
Yeah,
even
you
gonna
don't have
shit
to.
talk him.
Right.
I'm exercising my opinion by not participating.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like I said, I have that huge divide because I am a fan of Pantera. I was a fan of Down.
Mm-hmm.
And Down has become difficult for me to listen to.
Yeah.
He is the voice of New Orleans for heavy metal.
Yeah.
And that is push and pull for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, his attitude, his attitude is more of a problem for me
Uh-huh.
than anything because his attitude leads to everything else. and that hurts. But in the end, that band was Dime and Vinny.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to look at Pantera without them.
Well, he's another. If you're calling back to a previous episode, he was another replacement.
Yeah. Oh, Terry Glaze was the original singer.
Yeah.
Who was not fun. Like, there's a reason that band changed.
Yes.
And it changed, honestly, with Phil, it changed for the better.
Yes.
It changed. The style became more groovy, more aggressive, and just all in all, there's a wilder band.
Oh yeah.
And then all through the albums. But that launch point was super important.
Yeah.
Now, who wants to talk about Judas Priest?
Oh, I could talk about Judas Priest forever.
We're gonna, because I think we've talked about them in almost every episode.
Yeah, except for the Christmas. Wait,
I talked about Halvard.
Yes, you did.
It's Christmas shit.
Yes, you did.
Oh, it was so bad. In Hellbent for Leather.
Yes.
You said previously, how did anyone not know?
Right.
It was
fucking cool. That's why.
He's cool as shit.
And that's not. I'm not saying it was cool. That's why we didn't know.
It's cool. That's why we didn't care.
I'm saying that. Yeah. When it came out, it's amazing to me how many people went, and that's the greatest part of it.
And that's the way. That's the way it should be.
Right. But getting back to Hellbent for Leather, this song was basically the song that got me into heavy metal. I was a young kid, and like I told you, I think in like the first episode,
Your uncle.
My uncle is 7 years older than me, and he was a heavy metal guy. And since I was 9 or 10 years old, maybe even younger, he would play me and this is it's actually the video.
I'm very familiar with the video.
That got me in. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was a live video, right? They were on stage.
Yeah, well, most of the videos back then, because
it's live footage.
Yeah, they don't. Sometimes they'd even set up a stage.
Yeah,
and then just record it like they were performing live.
Right. So
a lot of the Bon Jovi videos and Warrant and Poison videos were like that.
Yeah. So this is what got me into it. It was the look. It was the leather jacket, and I wanted a leather jacket after that. I didn't want the hat.
Nobody wants the hat.
That was a weird look. But the motorcycle.
I've always said those hats looked silly to me.
Yeah.
Only because growing up, my dad rode motorcycles.
Yeah.
Had to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
You have to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
The look they were going for was a very English thing. Mm-hmm. I believe they were called the Teddy Boys.
I don't know.
They were leather jacket, motorcycle hat guys from the 50s. A lot of the early Beatles looks were based on that too. The Beatles had the original leather look.
Yeah.
When they were in Cologne, Germany.
Okay.
That's where that comes from. But in this case, he got a lot of that from the German sex clubs.
Yeah, yeah.
And before they started donning leather, they dressed like hippies.
Yeah.
And it looked weird.
Yeah.
Like the music, I love Judas Priest. I love rock and roll.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
But when they made the move to wear leather, they don't look 100% comfortable.
No.
But they look cool as shit.
But and it changed. It changed
heavy metal.
It changed the style.
Everybody did that.
Right.
And we talked about.
I mean, I've had a leather. Well, I don't have one right now, but I've had leather jackets my whole life.
Yeah, same. You know? I still have mine in my closet. I don't wear it just because I'm fat and I look like I'm wearing a cow. I look like I'm wearing a black cow.
But then the greatest part is that I got into punk, right? And so all I did was I got a denim jacket. I cut the arms off and made
now
a
you
vest,
got a battle vest.
And then I put the patches on, and I wore that over it.
I thought I could do that. I really think I look like every fat guy in a motorcycle gang. Just put me on a fucking trike. I just bearded fat mess. Here comes Skeeter.
But Judas Priest is that's heavy metal for me. That got me started.
Judas Priest was another one of those bands where I learned about them, and when I first heard them, I heard Painkiller.
Yeah.
And so I had to go backwards.
Yeah, wow.
And the more they went bluesy, as you know, they started out bluesy and got heavier.
Yeah.
As I went backwards, I got bluesier and I got excited. I love blues and I love heavy metal.
Uh-huh.
And that combination, like Pantera is a combination that's what sets my heart fluttering.
Okay.
The heavy stuff is one thing, but like groovy and like bluesy rhythm and blues, heavy metal, that stuff feels so good. The first time I heard their covers, like Diamonds and Rust, the Green Manalishi, which I did not know was a cover at first, those are so good.
Yeah.
And then for this to be a gateway for you is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This wasn't a gateway. This is basically the start of my musical.
It's the gate. That's the front door.
Yeah.
It's not even the gate. It's the front door to the entire
That's
genre.
where it started. That's basically where it started.
So now we get to talk about somebody that you've also talked about I won't say incessantly, but constantly. Mike Patton and Faith No More.
Yes. I was very excited when I saw you put this on there.
I had to put it on there because it's something that before I got into heavy metal, I knew the song.
Right.
My sister was a hair metal fanatic.
Okay. I wouldn't even call this heavy metal though.
It's not.
This is the beginning of like
rap rock.
Rap rock.
Which,
I hate that term.
If we destigmatize the name, it's just two things that were put together.
I like new metal.
It's not even new metal because
new metal's Korn.
New metal's like Korn, Limp Bizkit.
But this was the beginning of that.
This is the predecessor.
Right.
To me, this is what comes after Aerosmith and Run DMC.
Yeah.
With Walk This Way. It's a progression.
Okay, all right.
Not that I'm not saying that good or bad. I actually love this album. I will say it to the end of time. I love Faith No More. I love The Real Thing. It is an amazing album.
I love that album too.
I know. It's not your favorite. Your favorite is Angel Dust.
Yeah.
Mine is this. This is the first time I ever saw a tribute to Cliff Burton shirt on somebody.
Okay.
Jim Martin, the guitarist, was wearing one in the video.
Yes.
That's how I learned about Cliff Burton. Like I looked.
Really? You looked into it from the shirt?
I looked at the first time I saw the video as a teenager. I'm like, who is Cliff Burton? And I asked somebody else, and another goes, yeah, he was based from Metallica, bus accident.
Yeah. Wow.
A whole myriad of wrong information.
Okay.
It was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Eventually, I heard the real story.
Yeah.
And Mike Borden with his drums being completely flat.
Yeah.
Like none of them are aimed at him. Like most drummers have their drums facing them. Mm-hmm. He completely straight. Like you could set dinner on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen that before or since.
You know what? I'm sure Mike could tell us, but I've tried that, and it's so. How do you?
It's got to hurt.
Yeah, because Mike was showing me when we were at that show a couple weeks ago. He was showing me like a lot of the drum, because we got to the side of the stage where it was like not a lot of people. We could see the whole stage the whole time, and of course he's watching the drummer,
of course,
and he's like they're doing this thing with their arm. He goes to get a certain sound from the hi-hat,
the cock,
and he goes
the upper arm movement.
He goes, it looks so painful, and he goes, they're all doing it.
And instead of lowering the cymbal,
right?
Yeah,
you know,
Mike. One thing, Mike, don't quit. This is going to be a theme through the next 100 of these. I don't care. I love you, Mike. But one of the most important things I've noticed about Mike is very interested in about making the job for himself easier. He's not interested in making it flashy.
Right.
He will. He'll stick
he was
twirl.
In the beginning. Yeah.
No, he'll stick twirl and he'll do all that stuff. He will because he's made his job easy enough where he can.
Right.
He's made the cymbals and the drums in placement where he can move them comfortably. Mm-hmm. And that's huge. That's a huge deal. You know, I used to see guys in Roxy all the time doing what I called the shoulders. They'd be playing and their shoulders be going like this. Like they're riding a horse. Because they're moving, instead of moving their arm like this, they're moving the whole shoulders because they have all the drums set up wrong.
Yeah.
So their arms are all the way up here. They look like they've been beaten to death by the time they're done playing.
So do you know the reason why he played the drums like that?
Not a clue.
Like that?
I've seen him play obviously with Faith No More.
Yeah.
I didn't ever get to see Faith No More live. I actually gave my tickets away.
What?
I had to work. I couldn't take off.
I had two
tickets.
Well, we didn't know each other back then.
We did. We just weren't hanging out. Funny enough, I did give them away, and I gave them to my friend Sean to give to somebody else. He gave them to this guy, Ray Mazzola.
Okay.
The singer for a hardcore band, Full Blown Chaos.
Okay.
This dude is a huge Faith No More fan, like me. He asked if I wanted something for them. I'm like, no. I spent the money, but I lost out on it. Enjoy. Gave him the tickets. This is the same guy who used to work at the record factory over on 86th Street. He was the guy you used to see in the music store all the time. He was in Full Blown Chaos and his current band. I don't know if if he's still working with both, but his other band is Brick by Brick.
Okay.
These guys are amazing. If you like hardcore, these are the guys to look at.
I'll check it out.
His voice is brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Anyway, he got to see Faith No More live. I did not. But I've seen Borden play live with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And it was Ozzy, Robert Trujillo, and Zach.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in the corner was Adam Wakeman playing keyboards off stage because he's not allowed to be seen in public.
Yeah. Why?
There's 5 members in Black Sabbath.
Yeah. And he's never...
There are 5 members all the time.
Yeah. Only 4.
Adam Wakeman is the one guy who's not on stage with them, but he's on every album.
Yeah.
He plays keys, synths, whatever they needed. Huh. But he's not even recognized.
Interesting.
And he's there. He's always been there. He was on the last several albums.
Yeah.
Not the last 2, but the ones before that. And he actually is in a project with a singer called Damian Wilson, and it's Wakeman and Wilson.
Okay.
But yeah, that's Mike Borden had this amazing band around him. He's equally amazing. It's not like he was being like carried or,
Right.
So fantastic. But I still don't know how he fucking plays like that.
I don't know. I have no idea.
But yeah, that got me. Faith No More Epic got me. I was maybe 10 when I first heard it.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe,
you know what?
Maybe younger.
No, I was a teenager.
You're also older, slightly older than me.
Yeah. No, you said you just turned 41? I'm 5 years older than you.
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah. But those 5 years back then
were huge.
That's the difference between a 10-year-old and 15.
I'm a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. So those were like formative years. So I got dragged to anything my sister had to go to.
Yeah.
In the summer, I got dragged to. So these motherfuckers, her and her friends, wanted to go to Tower Records in the city.
Yeah.
To meet Nelson.
Those 2 blonde guys?
Yep.
Wasn't that whose sons were those?
Ozzy and Harriet.
Yeah.
Can I just say for the record, I have never given least of a shit about 2 human beings except for Gwen Stefani and Mariah Carey.
I knew it was coming.
I did not care. I had to stand there and get something signed. Like they signed a headshot of these 2 blonde white assholes. They looked like bleached assholes.
Yeah.
And then I gave it to my sister. She had 2. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's funny.
I don't even care. I'm going to name everyone who was standing there that day. It was the Boves, Kim and Loren, their older sister, Christine, and my sister. Now, Kim and Loren now...
Is her name Lauren?
No, Loren.
Is it spelled Lauren?
No, it's spelled as it's pronounced. I'm not doing that right now.
Okay.
I'm far too fat and far too dyslexic to spell anything for you. So, Kim and Loren and their older sister, Christine, my sister, the Kim and Loren are twins, and their older sister and their mom. And then they took my sister, and because my sister went somewhere, I had to go.
Uh-huh.
It was a nightmare. I was a bratty kid. Obviously, I was a piece of shit. I'm still a piece of shit. Now I'm in control of myself, somewhat. But yeah, I was dragged to Tower Records in the city to meet Nelson. I will never say their name without a little venom. I cannot stand them. They had 2 hits, and both of them I wish never existed.
Is that After the Rain?
After the Rain, and there was another one. Love and Affection.
Whatever.
Yeah. Wish one of them had an infection. Fucking hate them too. You know, fuck them. Fuck Gwen Stefani. I guess fuck Mariah Carey too. She can go sit on a hammer. I'm gonna make like an enemies list. I'm gonna end up sounding like Bobby Fischer at the end of this. 100 episodes in, it's just gonna be a list.
Yeah.
So that leads us to our final entry.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe how weird it was to hear Cypress Hill because I haven't heard them in 20 years.
Okay.
This is not the song I knew them by.
What did you know them by? Rock Superstar or something like that?
No, Insane.
Okay. That's the next album. Yeah.
I knew none of this.
So, what it is How I Could Just Kill a Man.
Yeah.
I could have picked any number of songs, not just by them, but by House Pain or somebody.
House Pain I'm familiar with.
Because...
White Irish Boston
guys. No.
Are they not Boston?
No.
Are they Philly guys?
No, they're New York guys.
Are they New York?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I hate them more. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them.
He says,
I don't listen.
I always hop the train in Valley Stream or whatever in one of his songs.
Bet he did.
Anyway, what, you don't like Everlast? Don't put Everlast on that list. I'll kick you across the table. That man is a national treasure now.
I felt that threat in my soul, and it felt so good. No, I don't have anything against Everlast. I just don't care.
All right. So
it's I have a no relationship with them. Like,
okay.
There's no established.
Not even
thought
House
on
of
them.
Pain?
Nah.
You're part Irish. Again,
Yeah,
this
so
is
what?
another one where like I heard this and I was like, I have to like
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the Pogues either.
All right. Now the Pogues I don't like. Yeah. But this was my introduction to, I guess, hip hop. Not my introduction.
White
knew
hip-hop.
I knew no. Cypress Hill is a bunch of Hispanic guys.
Yeah, I know they're Hispanic dudes.
But
you said House of Pain, I went white rap.
but this type, I guess this would be. Is it the precursor or the right at gangster rap?
I think so.
Right?
Now
This was early 90s, so-
I just want to establish this. We are probably two of the least qualified people to talk about gangster rap that exists.
Right. But this is what got me into hip hop.
Yeah.
And I listen, I'm not the most, like you said, I'm not the most versed in hip hop, but there are certain things that I like.
You're still going to be more versed than I am, and I am not terribly
Right.
I'm not terribly bad at it.
So I love Cypress Hill, even though they kind of, in my eyes, they fell off recently. Like they released an album, I think, a year or two ago, and I listened to it, and it was like trippy. It was they changed their style completely.
Okay.
And I didn't like it.
It was not for the better in your eyes.
Right.
Okay.
And House of Pain, kind of the same thing. They had that great first album. Their second album was okay.
They had a second album.
Yes.
I'm not even being. I didn't enjoy the first one, so I just didn't continue.
And then they, it just didn't happen. Then you get the West Coast stuff, like
Now,
Dr. Dre.
I was going to say, now we can talk about something I'm versed in.
And see, now I didn't like that then. I would listen to it because my sister was into that stuff, but I didn't like it as much as I do now.
Okay, I get that.
Weird?
No,
I
not really.
appreciate it now.
I appreciated it then.
I was back then.
I appreciate it more now.
I was, even though I liked House of Pain and I liked Cypress Hill and I liked a few other things, I was back then. I mean, this is 91, 92. I was 13, 14. God.
I'm going to say something.
What?
I realized we're idiots.
What?
So gangster rap, impossible to start with Cypress Hill.
Why? It was the West Coast
NWA.
thing. Good point. Good point.
We just talked about Dre.
Yeah, and Mike, you're not going to be able to really. This is one thing you're not going to be able to.
I just
correct
corrected this.
Yeah,
because
whatever that's considered, I don't know what that's considered.
I don't even know what to call it, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like if there was a stoner metal version of hip hop,
Yeah, I
they would
guess.
definitely sit right there.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that the reason why I didn't like that stuff was I was your basic. If it's not heavy metal, I don't like it. You know what I mean? Rap sucks.
I had that. I had that thing,
and I think I had that because of my friends around me who would do the same thing, and I would just follow along. And
so.
But now I have an appreciation for it. You know, I see the artistry in it. You know,
There's a definite style to it. We were talking about in a previous episode where I was making fun of one of your choices. I said, "Why not Rapper's Delight," which was 79.
yeah.
And when you think about, like we mentioned NWA just now, NWA, everyone out of there
Went on to be big.
Ice Cube and Eazy-E,
Eazy-E
unfortunately, before
died,
his death. Dre, I forget who else.
I don't remember.
Anyway, but Dre led to a whole genre.
Yeah.
And then that led to Snoop, which led to Eminem.
Yeah.
That changed the face of
And then you
not
have,
just
you
hip hop,
have
but
Ice
music.
Cube on that side, and then geez,
And Ice Cube made the transition.
And not only that, I mean, you get it's and it's Ice-T, and I don't know if he was he gangster. Yeah, I guess he was gangster rap too.
He definitely
but he
was.
was not part of that.
No, he
clique
was,
or whatever you would call it.
He was not part of that group.
Right.
Ice-T was
It was a
self-proclaimed pimp.
It was, and it was also the Crips and the Bloods too, right?
I have no idea.
I think there was a different gang affiliation.
Well,
with
I
that.
know Snoop was definitely affiliated with one of them.
Yeah, I don't remember which one. Yeah,
And then because of Tupac coming on,
yeah.
Tupac was also
Then
a
the
huge-
East-West thing, and it got crazy.
But Tupac also was a musician. Like, he wasn't just
was a
into
poet.
rap. He was a poet. He was also a musician. He played
Yes.
and worked with Digital Underground.
oh man, you beat me to it. I was about to say he's in Nothing But Trouble, that terrible movie.
Yeah, but
with Dan Aykroyd and his dick nose.
and then the character. So like I said, I'm not qualified to
Right.
talk about hip hop, but of what I know, I remember from the early '90s.
Yeah.
Tupac and Dre and Snoop and Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes.
I'm gonna go
Love
with
them.
Onyx. If you want to go
Oh,
gangster,
I love Onyx. Oh, you're getting me. See,
Filthy.
I didn't realize how much I loved hip hop back then.
Now the thing is, I'm not.
And I would never say it. I would never say it back then, and that's terrible.
Yeah, and because we're taught by other people that's not cool.
Yeah.
And the same way people shit on metal now.
Yeah.
And I refuse now. I'm like, yeah, I listen to that. I listen to dance music. I listen to 80s freestyle.
Oh, you want me? Yeah.
90s freestyle.
Yep.
I mean, I was looking stuff up the other day for 80s. I'm like,
By the way, there's an iHeartRadio freestyle album. We'll listen to it on the way home.
I'll give it a shot.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm gonna give it a shot. We're gonna play it on the way home.
Play it on the way home.
I'll enjoy it. But the idea that all this stuff was out there, and I owned cassettes.
To be cool, we didn't listen.
To be cool, I stopped listening.
Okay.
And to be honest, it's cool shit.
Yeah.
And this is 30 years down the road.
Yes.
One of the craziest things that I remember was, I think it was Onyx and Biohazard.
Yes.
That was the first time I heard Biohazard.
Come on, that is the best soundtrack ever.
Judgment Night.
Judgment Night.
Which is a terrible movie.
Terrible movie. Great soundtrack.
I think I watched Dennis Leary die like 6 times on purpose. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Not of Dennis Leary, just
Boston
that
guy.
movie.
Oh.
No, I love Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary's hilarious. He's a dick.
Yeah.
Not my favorite Boston guy. My favorite Boston guy is Lenny Clark.
All right.
Stole
Yeah, I
a
know.
bus while he was running for mayor.
Yep.
He was running under his banner was "Fuck the Kennedys."
Yeah.
So that's always funny.
Yeah. So
I don't think we need to end this when we feel like ending it. We can end it any time. But I really like the idea that we got to talk about a genre that is outside,
way outside.
way outside.
And listen, like Dave said, we have a hit the stage podcast at gmail.com. If we got anything wrong, let us know.
If we got anything right,
If we got anything right, let us know.
and if you have any ideas, if you want to just tell us you hate us, love us,
Yeah.
you think chicken nuggets are awesome,
Yeah.
terrible, you let us know.
Yeah.
Also, check out our Instagram, hit the stage podcast
Yeah.
at Instagram. I am basher.exe.
Mine is Nugs, NOOGZ29. And yeah, and also this I hear, I haven't seen it yet, but if you give 5-star ratings and positive reviews, apparently it moves us up in searches on podcast apps. So if you're so inclined, and you could give us 5-star ratings and say, hey, I kind of like them, or just give us 5 stars and say, eat a dick. I don't care.
Do it. Do it. Mike, don't quit. Do it.
I knew that was coming. All right, so on that, we're gonna say, I'm gonna say, fuck Mariah Carey,
And fuck Gwen Stefani. And who else did I say? Who else?
Oh, wasn't it Everlast? No, it wasn't
No.
Everlast.
I didn't
Oh,
know.
Nelson.
Fuck Nelson. Matthew and Gunnar Nelson can suck each other off in hell. And for that, Happy New Year. We love you.
everybody.
Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.